All right, guys, the injury news just keeps coming. Wish I didn't have to get on here to do breaking news pieces all the time when it comes to Chiefs players getting injured. I feel like it's been a theme all season long. You know, the Chiefs have typically been able to stay pretty healthy during the seasons, especially recently, and late into the playoff run. And while none of these injuries I don't think are super concerning, there is some good news on the horizon too, with some players about to return. The Chiefs just made a bunch of roster moves that are worth talking about. But before I get into all those details, I do first want to give props to Arrowhead Live, because he broke this news last night, and I just wanted to wait before going live on the YouTube channel. I wanted beat reporters and some other people to confirm this. I always like two sources to confirm before going live about news, but he was first on it. He said, "I've been told Spencer Schrader pulled a hamstring and is out this week and will be replaced by Matthew Wright." So the hamstring injury doesn't seem serious enough for Spencer Schrader to be placed on IR, but they are bringing in the former Chief and the former multi-team kicker. We'll get into that in a second. They're bringing Matthew Wright back to the practice squad. This is a guy that was on the team a couple years ago when Harrison Butker was dealing with his hamstring and his ankle. His ankle issue when he was placed on IR. First kick of the game, he hurt it in the Cardinals game. I'll get my words together, I promise. Week 1, 2022, sprained his ankle. Harrison Butker missed time. Matthew Wright was one of the guys they kind of brought in, and he was pretty dependable. I'll get into that in just a second. But additionally, Arrowhead Live was told Peyton Hendershot, Chiefs tight end, was also injured. It wasn't during practice. It was during a workout yesterday and will be placed on IR. It was either a workout or the injury that Peyton Hendershot sustained in the Sunday matchup against the Panthers was serious enough that it's landed him on IR. So basically, Andy Reid after the game, when talking about injuries, he basically said, hey, Peyton Hendershot had calf cramping and he's back in the game. He finished the game. So there was like no worries, right? Well, obviously there's a little bit of a worry because it was a day off, some light workouts at the facility. And during these workouts is when Schrader injured his hamstring. I'm not really sure what happened with Peyton Hendershot, unless that calf cramped and it was just something more serious, but he was able to come in and finish the game. With that being said, props to Arrowhead Live, but here's a list of everything that has happened, okay? The Chiefs just went live with this a little bit ago. Let's talk about all these moves real quick. We have restored tight end Baylor Cupp to the practice squad. Okay, so when you put a tight end on IR, i.e. Peyton Hendershot, you need more tight end depth. So they're going to go get the former Baylor Cupp to the practice squad. And I'm trying to remember, was Baylor Cupp actually injured? They let him go at some point because they brought him back to the practice squad. So there's a move that the Chiefs did. Tight end Peyton Hendershot placed on IR. And to just get some added depth, they brought tight end Baylor Cupp back to the practice squad. I don't know what's going on with the Chiefs tight ends, but this is the third tight end they've had to get placed on IR. Jody Fortson tore his ACL. 6 days later, the rookie, Jared Wiley, tight end, he tore his ACL. This is tight end number 3 getting placed on IR, which is crazy. Then the Chiefs announced they signed kicker Wright to the practice squad. So whatever's going on with Spencer Schrader, literally the kicker that's kicked one game for the Chiefs after Harrison Butker was placed on IR, whatever's going on with him does not seem to be, at this point in time, serious enough to place him on IR. So you sign Matthew Wright to the practice squad. You can call him up, i.e. elevate him for an standard game day elevation for Friday's matchup against the Raiders. The Black Friday game against the Raiders. And Matthew Wright, during his time with the Chiefs, if you remember, he played 2 games in 2022. He was 3 for 4. He missed one between 40 and 49 yards, but made one between 30 and 39. And then he was 1 for 1 at 50 yards plus. He made a 59-yarder, if that's right. I think he broke like the record, and then Harrison Butker broke it, but I thought 59, that sounds a little long. But maybe Harrison Butker then cracked one that was 60 plus. I don't remember all the details there. All in all, like, he's been dependable. He's got an 86% field goal percentage. in his career. It's not ideal to bring in another kicker, but when you've got a guy dealing with a hamstring injury, something going on with Matthew Wright, or with Spencer Schrader, you got to have another kicker because Harrison Butker's on IR and he's going to miss a few more games. Something else to note, the Chiefs waived defensive end Cameron Thomas. I think that just means because more moves are coming. So the 53-man roster basically was filled because they signed offensive tackle DJ Humphries. They had one spot open, okay? So you had one spot open, 52 of 53. They then signed officially yesterday. He passed his physical and was added to the active roster. Offensive tackle DJ Humphries. Praise the heavens, the Chiefs need tackle help, specifically left side at Mahomes' blind side. I don't think that means DJ Humphries is going to play Friday. He could. I don't think so. From what I understand, it's going to take him a couple weeks to get up to speed and then get ramped in or worked in eventually there. But when you added him to the roster, that was 53 out of 53. Well, Cameron Thomas was on the 53-man roster. They waived him. So if he clears waivers, maybe he finds himself back on the practice squad. The Cameron Thomas trade was interesting. They did this around the trade deadline, I believe, from the Cardinals, and he never really got worked in. The Chiefs also traded for Joshua Uche from the Patriots a month ago, and he's barely gotten worked in. Now, why are they waiving Cameron Thomas? It's because you're either going to see Pacheco or Charles Omenihu come back this week, maybe even both, and that means you might need to make another roster spot available. I don't know who comes back first. I would think it's Isaiah Pacheco. That has not officially happened as of today, but DJ Humphries is around. His number is 70, and he's supposed to be practicing today. Well, the practice squad was full, so in order to add some players, i.e. Baylor Cupp to the practice squad, and then maybe Cameron Thomas if he clears waivers. Maybe they got something else up their sleeve. I don't know. But they terminated the practice squad contract of two players. Defensive end Truman Jones, which that kind of tells me you don't need as many defensive ends because Omenihu's about to return, and or Cameron Thomas could be added back to the practice squad. And then they terminated the practice squad contract of offensive tackle Lucas Niang, Chiefs' former draft pick. And that's it. You have, to recap, you have Spencer Schrader, hurt his hamstring yesterday doing something. So you signed Matthew Wright to the practice squad. Well, you got to make room for him, so you terminate the practice squad of Truman Jones and Lucas Niang. You then add DJ Humphries. This isn't on the list, but DJ Humphries was added yesterday. Offensive tackle DJ Humphries to make room for either Pacheco or Omenihu to return soon. Defensive end Cameron Thomas got waived from the 53-man roster. Tight end Peyton Hendershot, who was on the 53-man roster, he got placed on IR. So you're at 52 of 53 right now. Either Omenihu or Pacheco could return with that spot, and then maybe they're both back this week. I think, honestly, in order to get them back before their 21-day window to return closes, you have to bring them both back to the active roster this week. Even if they are inactive on Friday, you have to bring them back, or they would have to stay on IR for the rest of the season. So Pacheco and Omenihu both should come back, and that's it. It's a bit of a bummer that Spencer Schrader got injured again, or that the Chiefs are dealing with another kicker injury, with Spencer Schrader being the second kicker to get injured just within a series of a couple weeks, span of a couple weeks rather. Let's see. Matt Derrick said, by my count, including the addition of DJ Humphries, the Chiefs now have 51 on the active roster. Okay. So I was mistaken. I thought they had 52. They added Humphries. That made it 53. They then released Cameron Thomas. But if I'm off one, and that is indeed correct, that means the Chiefs have enough room, per Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest, a reliable source, they have enough room to bring both Isaiah Pacheco and Charles Omenihu back right now. So there you go. Practice squad is now at a full 17. And those are the moves that have happened today. Injuries just keep coming, keep hitting the Chiefs, but all you can do is adapt. I don't think the Chiefs should, in theory, lose this game on Friday. It shouldn't, in theory, be close, but we already know it's going to be a down-to-the-wire game, probably needing a field goal to win it, and it's not going to be Harrison Butker because he's on IR. It's not going to be Spencer Schrader because he hurt his hamstring in some capacity, it's going to be Matthew Wright. So more kicker problems have arisen. I'm not super worried about Matthew Wright. I think he's a fine kicker. It seems like the Chiefs were higher on Spencer Schrader because they chose to bring him in before Matthew Wright, but he's up now. And there you go. Everybody in this point in time in the season, they're all going to be dealing with injuries. This is just a thing that happens. But unfortunately for the Chiefs, they've been dealt more injuries than they have in previous years. The good news is, again, Omenihu, Pacheco are returning. Hollywood Brown should be returning some point in December before the playoffs. And so they've got some guys returning, which is great news. But there you go. A series of roster moves. Nando, thanks for the membership and the 10 gifted. Holy smokes, dude. Thank you for the 10 gifted. Appreciate you. Dub Freak with the 10. Seriously need to look at our training staff. Are we not warming up or cooling down properly? Way too many injuries. It's a serious problem. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs, in some regard, like injuries, there's an element of luck to it. Now, obviously, it's also down to the players for rehab, prevention, like all the stuff you can do in the training room and stuff like that. But sometimes injury luck just doesn't go your way. I feel like the training staff, obviously not always graded properly from the player's perspective, but the proof of the training staff of the Kansas City Chiefs being pretty good year in and year out is that you make these deep playoff runs and most of your roster is healthy. This year, it hasn't gone the Chiefs' way. If it's something that happens again next year, like then I'm like, okay, maybe it's a little bit more of a concern. I'm not going to be too concerned about that at this point in time, just because I feel like it's the first year the injury luck is not really going the Chiefs' way. But there you guys go. Series of roster moves. Again, if Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest is correct, even with adding offensive tackle DJ Humphries, waiving defensive end Cameron Thomas from the 53-man roster, and placing Peyton Hendershot on IR, has them at 51. So you can add both Pacheco and Omenihu before the Chiefs take on the Raiders this Friday. Let me know your thoughts on all the moves in the comments down below. I'll have a full preview out tomorrow, which will be Chiefs and Raiders for the Black Friday game. So let me know your thoughts on all that in the comments down below. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go.
How about those Chiefs?